Hi guys, I'm back with my fourth installment. So this is the fourth episode. So let's go to the documentation. We promised that we are going to learn database manipulation with Go. So let's go to the documentation. Um, so accessing a relational database. This one we are going to do today. So we have already fixed up our Go installation and we did some progress in Go. So we created module and then we created testing, many things. We did error handling, and then at last we also did a little bit simple testing. So this time we're going to use SQL, relational database, accessing a relational database. So it says that we have to create a folder for your code, set up a database, import the database driver, get a database handle, and connect query for multiple rows. These are the agenda. So, so we are going to use MySQL relational database management system. So as you know, I am a PHP developer. So I work with uh, PHP, MySQL database, Apache. These are my stacks. So I have MySQL installed in my machine from the get-go. So how did I install it? So I have this installed, which is Laragon. I have installed this 2-3 years ago, and this Laragon package comes with a MySQL database. So here it says Laragon works out of the box with not only MySQL but also PostgreSQL and MongoDB. So if you have Laragon installed, then you have MySQL for sure. And I have also uh, uh, XAMPP because I am using Windows, so I also use XAMPP for. So XAMPP has also MySQL. I think not MySQL. XAMPP has MariaDB, which is almost similar to MariaDB as MySQL, except a few cases. But in general purpose, it is almost similar. So you can do that by yourself, or you can just search in YouTube and find many um, ways to how to install XAMPP or Laragon in your machine. Or you can just install MySQL binary from MySQL's here. I think they have a community version, not enterprise. Here is the community server, and from here you can download the MySQL, whichever you like. And then for using the MySQL, you need to also install MySQL Workbench. Or if you have XAMPP, then you can use phpMyAdmin in localhost, like this phpMyAdmin, and you can access the MySQL. So there is three ways I have shown. First is Laragon, and you'll get out of the box. Same XAMPP, you get MariaDB out of the box. And the third option is installing MySQL, downloading MySQL binary, and then installing the MySQL workbench. So I think you already did, or you'll manage it somehow. Then because this is only for Go learning, and going with the documentation, so I am not delving too much in my SQL installing and etc. So let me check. No, I do not have MySQL or Laragon or XAMPP enabled here, so I have to enable it. So let me MySQL only. It will run shortly when the port is here. So let's wait and see what else should do. Okay, so first we have to create a folder. So let's go to the, where is it, the GoDev, which I have created the directory before. Then let's create the directory here, and this is the directory they want us to create. So let's create the same as what they instructed. So this is the directory. I'm going to open it with code because I think this is the root directory in which we are going to use okay. So then we have to create a module. So guys, I think you should remember how did we initialize the module. So here it says go mod init and then the module name. So let's this is the Control J, and in Windows it opens up the terminal. Okay, so here I'm going to use mod init example slash data access, enter, and the module has created. Let's go and see. So our module name is example slash data hyphen access, and we are using Go 1.19. So we did it. Now set up a database. So they are using MySQL root. So they are not going to use MySQL workbench. So if MySQL workbench is too much, then you just install the MySQL binary and access it from command line. So let me, I think I have already command line here. So let me see this. So here MySQL is the command, then hyphen U is the abbreviation for user, and user is root. Hyphen P is the abbreviation for password, and after that I think it will prompt us to type password. Let's see. Yeah, so I think I do not have password for in my local, so just enter it and see. Here I am in the MySQL, which is MariaDB, as I have shown you that XAMPP use MariaDB in the background, but it is actually MySQL, the wrapper on the MySQL. So okay, so what does it do? It create a database, and database name is recordings. So we gotta create the database. So create database, and the database name is recordings. Okay, just copy what the documentation is saying. I am not even modifying the database name. So I enter, and the database query is run. Okay, and recordings database is created. If there was any issue, it would have give us exceptions errors. Okay, so now we got to change to the database. We created the database, but we are still not in any database. We are not selected in any database in the terminal. Here you see it is saying none. So no database is selected. We got to select our database, and here how do we select it? We use this keyword use. We utilize use keyword, then the database name. So let's do this. Use recordings. Let's see. And the database change to recordings. Okay, then what do you do? In your text editor, in the data access folder, create a file called create-tables.sql. So this is a SQL file that this documentation is telling us to do, is to create a create tables.sql script, SQL file. So let's create this file in our root, right? And this is the SQL file created. And I think what it will be done, that it our program will be using this SQL file to run this. So what is this? Is it first first checks if there is any album. So album is a table. So if there is any album table which is named album, then we'll gotta drop it. Drop it means it will completely removed. So first it is removing or deleting any existing table named album. Then it is going to create it again, or a new, with these columns. So this is not a column, I think. These columns: ID, title, artist, and price. And it is just the primary key for notifying that table that ID field will be our primary key in this table. So let's use this. I think we got, let's copy all this. So after that, album is created. When we'll run this, album will be created. And after this, insert query, this is called insert query. Insert query will be run, and insert query runs writes types like this: insert into table name and the field names. After that, you gotta use the keyword values, and after that you can specifies the correspondent values against the fields. Okay, so you can just do one row, or you can just do multiple row with comma separated here, and the last one will have to be ended with a semicolon. So this is it. Let's see what is the next agenda. Our next agenda, next to do is, we gotta run this MySQL. So we are not going to run this via Go. We're going to run this using MySQL command prompt. So how we'll do it? We'll use source command in the following form. So we're going to specify the create tables.sql files full path, and this is the source command. So source, here source, and the full path, I can just copy the full path from here and paste it, and we can run it, right? Yeah, we got to run it. So I run, what does it do? Okay, there is a syntax issue. Okay, so this is, I think, let me again use recordings. I have already created the recordings and database, so I'll just use it. Okay, so I think the path has the issue. So in the bash, I think we're using bash, right? Git bash. In the git bash, we think we have to use like this. So I think we gotta use let me copy it first, then I think we have to use like this. I think it will work now. No, I need to open the file. Why is it not working? Do I have to there is something wrong, man. I think I'll use not git bash. It is giving me errors for path, so I am going to use command prompt of the Windows. I think this will not give us any problem. Use recordings. Okay, so now we're gonna use the path. Same issue in bash. Oh, did it work? Let's see if we select all from album. I think not. Oh, this is taking our time, so let's just copy this or copy this first, use this and try. Okay, now let's just copy this and create it from command line, because the path is not working and this is taking time, but we are not going to learn MySQL here. We are going to learn Go, so this is just our, let's see. Okay, now let's try to insert. Now let's try select all from album. It does not show a thing here. If I use this, I did write the same thing, but it is not showing. Okay, I think I will have to use MySQL workbench to see what's going on. So this is the workbench. Yeah, now I think we got this here, the recordings. So let's create table here. We'll just copy this and let me close all. Okay, and new paste, run all, and I think we have created our tables here. This is the tables and this is the data. So if we now try to use recordings, right? Recordings. Let's see. Here it is. So it was something wrong. We tried here to create the table, but it did not create. But we can just see the data. And then what we do? So we have to find and import the database driver. So this is the driver, right? Go SQL driver MySQL. We have to use this one to install it. Let's see what does it show us. So using your text editor, create a file in which to write your Go code and save the file as main.go in the data access directory you created earlier. Okay, so let's create the file main.go. Okay, so this is our package main, and then we need to import this, right? So here go SQL driver MySQL, and here it is github.com. So this is the package name for the driver. So we have to specify it for importing. Import done by like this, or like this. Double quote, yeah, double quote, and then now write some code, but we did not install it in our we did not install it in our here it is, go get. and it will automatically get the data driver. So we will not worry about that right now. Let's go to the next phase. Next phase is in our main.go, we are going to import code, paste the following Go code to create a database handle. So this is the database handler in the so this is a pointer sql.db. This is a struct. So do you know what is struct is? So when I learned in our CSE bachelor degree program in C language, we learned that in C language there was struct, right? This is the struct. It works like class object, but not really object, but it works like this. So you can create a structure by using struct keyword and declare each of its members inside the curly braces, like we um, use the member variable in our classes in the OOP programming languages. In C we have struct, and in there we could do that. So in our other programs, in the other functions, then we could use those struct and access assign values here. So almost like class. So there are difference, um, but to give you an shallow overview, what is actually struct is struct comes from C programming. So let's close it. So what it is saying that we gotta use a pointer to an SQL.db struct. So SQL.db is a struct, and we gotta point this. So many primitive language uses also pointer, so which represents access to a specific database. So let's use this to access a specific database. So where is SQL.db, then beneath main.go we gotta use the main.go, of course, and we have to use func main. So what does it do? First is capture the connection properties. So capture or define, okay, then it created the variable cfg, and let's go create the variable cfg, and is using mysql.config. Okay, and mysql.config has user, password, net, tcp, address, which is actually this one, and database name. So let's get copy all this, and we will not use it. So this is getting the db user from environment operating systems, save for db pass, but let's use root here because that's what we are password user is no password. So remember that it is passwd. Okay, the net TCP address is okay and database is also correct. Then get a database handle as and it first created a variable. So this is the type, I think, error, but do I have to import the type error here? I think we'll check what it did here. db error, the so this is the db variable created first. So here we only see the error variable declared. Here you see, it the semicolon first declare it. So we could do that like this. So here variable cfg, and then we just could remove this, and if first declare, then assign, and with semicolon we just do the whole thing with one go. Okay, but in this case the db is declared before the main function, and r variable is declared later, and both db and r will be assigned from a method, I think, which is sql.open. So it is actually connecting the code for connecting the server, right? And open. So the SQL can be MS SQL, SQLite, or various type of SQL, but this time it is MySQL, so we explicitly says it here. Then we are going to provide the configuration, and if the configuration is okay, our server is on, then we will not get any error, but we gotta handle the error first. So if error is not nil, that means there is error, then we gotta show the log fatal error. And if there is no error, that means our configuration is okay, our server is on, then we'll do a ping in the server, database server. So db.ping, and we got a response in ping error variable. And if we got what if the ping error is not equal to nil, that means there is error, then we'll have to also log that error, that ping failed. Ping if the ping is okay, then we'll just say connected. Okay, so here it is the explanation. So this is the type sql.db. This is the SQL package. I think we're going to use this package. So this is the struct, right? db struct, and this db struct is coming from SQL package. This is the SQL package. This is standard library, so I don't think we have to install it. It is already in the Go libraries. And let's see what is format DSN. I do not see where it is defined. I think the URL is not correct. So here it is saying use the MySQL drivers config and the types format DSN to collect connection properties. Format them into a DSN for IC. So there is a string for DSN connection. DSN is, so let's see what it says. So this is the MySQL DSN strings or URL looks like, right? So when we use this cfg.format DSN, this object key value object cfg got transformed into a string that is formatted like DSN. Okay, so then it is calling sql.open to initialize the db variable. Here is the db variable. Okay, and as we have said, it will just check if it is error or not. If not error, if it is error, if the error is nil, then we'll just ping it. Here the ping, same SQL package, we have db ping. Ping verifies a connection, so it verifies the connection that the connection is still alive. There could be that such a case that when we open the db connection, it was okay, but a millisecond or microsecond later the server got closed and then the ping error will happen and will get notified. So this is good that we, after opening the connection, we ping to the database and we check for an error from ping in case connection failed. Okay, and ping connects successfully, then we print a message. And yes, we got to import these because we are using log, we are printing, we are using database/SQL, the standard library, and we are not using OS, so we are not going to import that. So I think we got to use this, right? So we got to use log fmt, and of course which is database/SQL, right? Yeah, now let's save the main.go. We saved it. So now we got to run the code. So first we got to track the MySQL driver module as a dependency. So use the go get to add the github.com this module as a dependency for your own module, which is our own module is example slash data access. So let's use this go get dot. Let me go here, go get dot, enter. Let's see. downloading the driver. Okay, so this is the driver that is imported. Now I think we are using username directly, so I think we do not need to set our DB user name in the environment, so we just can do go.run, right? So let's see if what is the result. So run, let's see. So there was an error, and it is saying this user requires MySQL native password authentication. So there is a process that if you face such issues, we got a search in Google. So let's see what Google says about this error. Could not use. Let's see. So here I see the same code that we did, right? Uh, so we have to set something in our MySQL. Let me see what other, yeah, it is ticked. So let's see what does it say. We have to use this additional option. So allow native passwords true. That value is true by default, but the defaults are only applied if you use new config and not create the config struct yourself, but this will work as well. So I'll check the new, what is the new config, but let's just try with this one and let's see what is the outcome. Here it is. Save and then run again. Here it is saying connected, right? So thank you, man. Let's give it a go up for a nice useful answer here. Yeah, same thing. Okay. Then we got a query for multiple rows. So in the main.go, immediately above the func main, paste the following definition of an album struct. So what we did in here, we created album, right? And each column has data type. It is in MySQL, but our Go function, Go code does not know which is what type of column. So we got to define it in our main.go as well to map relational database and its tables and fields. So the table is album and its fields are this, and it will be a type. So let's use this. So above here I think, or here, type album struct, and then we got to define the variable or column. and first is id, which is integer, and then the second one is title, which is string, artist, same, string type, price, float. Okay, so now there is another function created, which is album by artist. So here in the data we see this is the album title, album artist. So if we want to search by artist, so if I want to get the album for artist John Coltrane, we should be able to get two rows. If we want to see the title by Gary Mulligan, then we'll see only one row. So let's see, here is the function. Okay, and in the parameter it is going to be the string, so this is just the artist name, and it will return album, and I think this will be returned, right? But this will be the return will be the array of album, or it could be error. Let's see, yeah, it could be error. So a album slice to hold data from returned rows. Okay, so we have to declare a slice. So this is the slice albums. Slice is actually, if you coming from PHP or other background, you could say it's just an array. Just think like that, think simple, then we'll go to the complex. So then what does it do? It does a query, db.query, and it query like this. So this is select all from album where artist. So this question mark will be replaced by what we'll give as parameter. So we'll specify the parameter here, which is name, and then here it is, and then it is assigned here. So row, it could be air, and if air not nil, then we got problem because there is error. And what does it let us print? It print this. So let's just copy it and print it. So if it is there is error, we got a return nil for album because we got nothing. And if there is error, so we got given error function, which is album by artist, and then the name and the error will be printed here. And if there is no error, then we got a valid row here, right? and then okay, we got a rows dot close. So uh, so rows dot close, what does it do? I do not know. So let's just copy it and paste it here. What I am suspecting that it's maybe closing the database connection or ending the rows, so something like that. We got to search that, but I'll do that later. Let's go by the example first. So now we got rows, we got to loop through it. So this is the rows dot next, and this is how you loop through using scan to assign the column data to struct fields. So here is the struct fields, which is id, title, artist, price, and using the scan function, we assign those uh, album uh, assign those structs variable. So first declare the variable album type LB, then just copy it, and I'm going to see what does it do. So rows dot scan, it scan the rows, and then it I think when it scans, it certainly knows that rows first column is id. So if the row is like, let's say this one, number 4, then first scan column is 4, so it is assigned to this elf.id, then title, then artist, then price. This way the album variable got its data, and then this whole thing is doing in if statement. So it is first declaring and assigning the scan of scans result here, and scan result could only give it error. If there is valid error, then it will not be nil, and we got error and we got to return the error message. But somehow or always or most of the time it will not be error, and it will be the error variable will be nil, so it will be false, and in this case it will not go into this if statement. It will go to the 56th line, and this elb variable, which got all the values assigned here, will append to the albums slice which we have declared at first. So it will just appended the uh, values, or pushed it will, the album will be pushed in here. So these albums eventually will be pushed here. So these albums is actually these albums, don't get me wrong. The the pushing value will be elb, this variable, into these albums, and after pushing it, it will be a whole another uh, um, data and it will be assigned to the albums. So after that we gotta check another error, which is rows dot error. And if there is no rows dot error, we did close here defer using defer, but let's see what does it do. I think it is after loop, and then if there is no error, then we return the album with the error is nil. So far so good. Let's see the explanation. We'll get to know now what does rows dot what does defer means. So yeah, defer closing rows so that any resources it holds will be released when the function exits. Certainly rows will have resources like data, like function dot scan function dot close dot error. This type of function will this rows variable will have. So defer closing rows will give the data it holds will be released after the function exit. I think the function means this function. I'm not sure which function it is referring. So it's a good thing that the memory will be released because resource means it is holding memory. Okay, then after that looping through the returned rows using rows.scan to assign each row's column values to album struct fields. So this is standard package of the SQL library, and here let me click it again to see. This is it. So this scan is explicitly can be used to set values of the rows to our defined type here. So this is good so far. After scanning uh, okay, now in the main function I think this is what it does. After the loop check for an error from the overall query, so this is the check of overall query, the last one. Okay, okay, so if there is error, overall error, then it is the only way that we could check that results are incomplete. Okay, so this is a good check. We should do it, because only using this function we got to know that there is an error. For that we did not get the complete result. And if this pass, then we can be at least be sure that we got all the complete data what we want from this query. So after that certainly we'll have to call this function in main. So here it is calling it. So we have to call the function in the main. Okay, I think after connected we gotta do this, right? And we gotta pass the artist name first, last pass this artist, John Coltrane, and this will give us albums error. Whichever it wants, it will give us two types of return type, albums or error. Here it is, albums or error. So if error not nil, which is this one, then there is error. We could log dot fatal. What does it do? Yeah, error. And if there is no error, we got albums value, and we should be able to print it, right? Let's see what did it do in documentation. Yeah, it printf. Let's just copy it and paste it. Albums found, and these are the albums will be printed here. Okay, after that we have to run it, so go run, and let's see. There are some error, row declared but not used. Okay, we got error, row declared but not used. Yeah, we got issues here. We have to use rows because here is rows. Now I think it will work. Let's see. Yeah, albums found. First one is this, second row is this, and if we pass this artist, which is Gary Mulligan. Now let's try. Yeah, this is the title. So let's see what else this. Now we got the data. Now we need to add data. So there is another function for adding. So let's name it func add artist, and this time the value will be the album. So not artist, add album. What I'll do now, it will add the album. So let's name ALB, which is album, and what it will return, let's see. It will return integer, the album ID of the new entry, or error. Okay, here we got first add this. How do we do? We got to use db. Here you can see we use db.query, and in query we got to write insert query. So here is the insert query, not db.query, it will be db.exec. We got to execute it. So insert into album table. The columns are, these are the columns, and values. So how this question marks will be replaced by variable that we are going to define here, which is l.title, l.artist, and l.price. And this will give us result or error. Okay, and if we got error, then there is problem. We got problem. But if there is no error, then we can get the last insert ID. This is the last insert ID. And here we could also get error. If there is error, that we got a return 0 and the error. Otherwise we can return the ID and nil. Okay. What is the error here? Error declared but not used. We got to use correct variable. Now it's okay. So here it is saying that we have to use this function to execute insert statement like query exec takes an SQL statement followed by parameter values for the SQL statement. Then we'll check the error for attempt to insert, retrieve the ID of the inserted result, and check for an error from the attempted to retrieve ID. And now in the main function, if we want to add it, we need to call it. What is the error? Okay, we'll use it soon. Don't be impatient. So if we want to add, let's add first. So add album, and here we got to pass the album, and this is the album. This is the title, this is the artist, and this is the price. Now when we album, we expect to get ID or L. Okay, and this is the album ID. And if there is error, then we gotta log it. If there is no error, we gotta show a message that we have added the album successfully. So this is the message, and after that let's search it by Betty Carter to see the result. Okay, now let's try. Go run. Yeah, the ID of added album is 5, and then the same artist is added, passes here to find the album, and this is the album row. Now we have added. Now what is that? Album found, update. Okay, we have added the album. Then the conclusion. This is the conclusion. We have successfully perform simple action with a relational database, and this is the completed code. Add album by id, album by artist. This function is not album by id. This function is not here. Oh, sorry, this is here, album by id. This is album by artist, album by id. So this is the function that searches by album by id. So here, what does it do? The id passed, an album or error is returned, then the query, and we got row. We could also get error here if I'm not wrong. Let's see up. Here it is, error. And it is using query row, so only one row will be returned, and in this case we can get multiple rows. For this we need to close the rows to free the resources afterwards. But here query row, only one row will be returned because we are using specifically the single id. So, and while scanning there could be error. If the error is not nil, we gotta show the SQL error here. And there could be various type of error. It could be SQL errors or other generic error. And if no error happened, then we can return the album data. So here we can use this the main function, album by artist. Let's say we album by id and use the album id which will be creating, and then the albums will be here. So in that case, let's create a new add album, test title 1. This time the artist is test artist 1, and the price, let's say 219, so 29.99. So let's see now if there is it is not used anymore. So let's also use this so that this error can be okay. So I have to rename it because it is already declared here. So or we can just use this, I think. There are still error. Let me see. Albums. Why is there error? Let me check. Albums declared but not used. Okay. We will be using in our print. So this time, let's see, you will get two results. One is id6, which is created newly. This is the one row, and this is the search result. This is the id result. And so this time we got this. We added data, we retrieved data, we added data, we retrieved, and then we also need to update data. So update data is just you use update query, nothing special. So far I'll end it here for today. Next time what we'll do, we will use developing a RESTful API with Go and Gin. Gin is web framework. So next time we will do this exercise. So if you learned something, please subscribe my channel, like, comment any. So please whoever you see watching my content, if there is anything issue, please comment it, share it. So till then, I am signing out. So bye bye.